So a number two assignment is the management style self-audit. So really you're going to be writing answers to questions about yourself, and it's an individual submission. And where you'll find the link to that instructions for this assignment is in Blackboard Topic 6, and this is what the link actually looks like. And then you submit that to that link once it's done. All right. So here's a little bit about the assignment expectations. So in completing this course assignment, you're required to demonstrate critical thinking. That's the key thing that I'd like you to demonstrate when you're doing this, that you've thought about these things, and it's really all about why it matters. Students are expected to demonstrate that they've done this due diligence and using insights and facts and figures derived from the research sources and the business articles that I've provided. And if you have additional one, that's more to your benefit to show me that you've done a lot of work in this area. But what I'd like you to do is focus on the quality of answer versus the quantity of answer. All right, be economical in your answers, not too long, but long enough to be able to demonstrate due diligence. And any kind of direct cut and paste from published source documents will get 0 marks. And you can use artificial intelligence, but you have to let me know that you've done that. So if you go to Copilot or ChatGPT, you need to show me that you've done that, and then I know where it came from. All right. So again, no 1 or 2 word answers are acceptable. Short, basic point form answers will not get full marks. It's just that straight. You have to demonstrate that you've applied some critical thinking to your answers and covering, the who and the why and the how, and in some cases the when. And they have to be, your answers have to be substantiated from those sources identified above in what we're going to cover, because I've given you a lot of the reference documents to make it easy for you to do this particular assignment. And only when you're using, you can't just have a personal opinion statement. You need to make a statement or an assertion and then support that with the materials that you've gone through and read, and support the statement that you're making. So that's what I'm looking for. Also, what I noticed too is that when you're writing papers in school and anywhere else, you need to write in third party. There's you need to stay away from, well, it's my opinion, or I believe that, or my research demonstrates. Basically keep it third party, saying the research has stated, or you actually use the reference and person that made the statement, and then you go along and saying what that is to be able to back up what you're doing. So one of the big things is help me help you. The main aspect of business communication in today's world is to be able to keep it, to the point, and help the reader navigate what's going through. And that way, because we're all very busy, we all are inundated with too much information. So the better that you can formulate an approach that the reader can follow, the better you're going to get marks. All right. So what I'm looking at is that here's a typical question, and how you would answer that question is use the same numbering, question 1, 1A, 1B, 1C, and then use main headers. So question 1 would have a main header of what kind of manager, and then the answer 1A would have a subheader of what kind of manager am I, and a subheader for B in terms of whose views of theorists, so that I can follow this all the way through. And really, one of the things that happens in looking at papers in college is that if it's in prose fashion, sometimes you don't know what's ended and what started. And when you use the numbering in the organizational formulation, then it's very distinct. The reader, the audience knows exactly where you are at each point in your paper. So again, here's some assignment resources that I'd like you to go through, and that's going to help you answer all these questions. And you're going to see as I go through the 7 questions that you have to answer, where you need to go to be able to get the information to be able to answer that question, so you can substantiate your assertions. So the first document is a series of articles that I put together in one document. And this is the, this link right here is the actual link to finding that document for, I call it support document 1A. And this is what it looks like. It's the series of articles that I found to help you make sure that you use the terminology to be able to answer these questions. So when you're looking into a management style, you'll actually use, these particular definitions of different types of management styles. And here I've covered 10 management leadership styles. And guess what? There may be a management style that's not in here. It doesn't, I purport to have all the answers, but it's really giving you a sense of what those answers should look like, right? And so that I will refer to this document as we go along, as, support document 1A. And then support document 1B is very specific. And not only that, it's inside of document 1A as well, so that I mainly reference 1A. The second document is support document number 2, and that's to allow you to see how you connect the Rebel survey to management theories and the theorists. And this is what it looks like. It's just a table that I prepared that actually shows you, which survey that you've taken and how that connects to the theorist and the contribution or the theory that theorist was referring to when you were doing that survey. So that's how that comes together. So that's, support document number 2. Support document number 3 connects the theorists, the theories to the tools and techniques. And this is what this document looks like. So here you can see is the category, and then the actual theorist, and then the management principles and the theory that relates to that. And then here's the actual tools and techniques that were developed to be able to address the theory and the management principles. And also, I need you to be very specific. Just mentioning the category of the theory is not going to be enough. Go into the actual, management principles and the name of the theory and reference the actual theorist as well. And these are all the theorists that we cover in this course. All right. So it really gives you a whole landscape to be able to go to one spot and get the good information to answer these questions. Okay. And then support document number 4, you've seen this before in the webinars, but this is a key one. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like. That's, this particular supplement 1A that I added to, this Robbins supplement. And really what it does is it gives you a breakdown of all the theories that we're covering in the course. And that's not to say that you can't go outside and find a research on maybe a theorist and a theory that's more, that resonates more with your style or whatever. That's fair game. And you'll get marked accordingly for that. I totally encourage that piece. So let's put that away. And then let's get into the actual questions. So how am I marking this? So what I'm saying is that I'm giving you a mark to see how well that you've self-reflected, that you really considered the question. And then I'm giving you 3 marks on how you apply the theory to yourself. And when you apply the theory, I'd like to see the theory, the management principles, and the actual name of the theorist. And then I want you to demonstrate, knowledge of that theory so that you know what it's all about. And that's another 3 marks. So basically, each question is worth 7 points. Okay. And the assessment is out of 50. So that's how that works. So let's take a look at question 1. Question 1 is, what kind of manager are you? And so that's the header that I want to see. And then you answer that. But what I'd like you to do to answer that is this: look to support documents 1A and 1B to really coin and define what your management style is. Then 1B, how do you know? So you take a look at the support document, use the information support document number 3 to reference the theories and the respective theorists that support. How do you know whose view management and applied theories apply to you. And then the next one, what management skills do you have? I want you to take a look at your Pearson Revel surveys, and you can see in topic 3 that there's a whole slew of Revel surveys that are going to help you be able to characterize your own baseline in terms of skills and capabilities to be able to answer this question. And so that you use support document number 2 to connect those surveys to your answer. Okay, so question number 2, what type of decision maker are you? So again, your subheader would be, what kind of decision maker, and then for 2A, and then you'd look at again the decision making slides in topic 2 commentary presentation that we went through in this last webinar on May the 8th, and they're earmarked and they show what's relevant in terms of determining what kind of decision maker you are, and again use the definitions of those particular types. And I want to see that so then you really understand what that is, not some general opinion about how you think you make decisions. And then how do you know? Well, then you go to the decision-making slides again, to back up your statements by referring to the theorists and respective theories that define, your stated decision-making style. And then, why do you subscribe to this view? Again, I'm looking at describe why it matters, demonstrate critical thinking. Again, not looking for a lot of material on answering that question, but to give me a representation of, I know that you've done your due diligence and you really do understand, why you subscribe to that particular view. All right, and that can be done in about 2 or 3 sentences, maybe less even. But as long as you're economical and you're pointed in terms of your remarks. Question number 3, what level of management would you be most successful in? So again, for 3A, in terms of level of management, use the terminology presented in the support document number 1A there's an actual article there called Levels of Management, a complete overview. So you really get a sense of, how this all fits and where you fit. And then describe the type of ownership model that you would want to work for your own. Again, you use the terminology presented in support document 1A under ownership and control. So, I put some information, I put an article in there to really give you the background to be able to answer that question. And then 3C, why do you think you would be successful working in this ownership model? Again, you go back to, describing why you think it and describe why it matters, like demonstrate that you've thought about this. So I'm really looking for that critical thinking piece about why you think it matters in the points that you made. Number 4, you ask yourself, do any of the answers in 1 and 3 change if you're running, working in a family business versus working for Amazon? Answer this question from the perspective of differing organizational attributes. You're still going to have the same core values, but those are 2 different entities, a family business versus, a large corporation. And you're going to have different management styles, in each one of those categories. And that's really where I want you to focus. So again, if you go to family business slides and topic 3 commentary presentation, you'll find a lot more information. And then, how would your management style be affected by working in Amazon? Use the information in the support document 1A, management styles, what makes a good leader. And you'll probably find a lot more information there to be able to support that answer as well. Number 5, whose theories on management decision-making or effective organizations discussed would you employ as a manager? So in 5A, you'd identify your predominant management style, all right? And then you use the information from the Revel surveys that you come across and insights from, again, the support document 1A and information from topic 2 commentary to support that answer. 5B, the subheading again, which theorists applied theories and would apply particular to your management style. You use that information that you found in the support document 1A to do that. and then which theorists and applied theories would apply in particular to your management decision style and why. Again, you go back to support document 1A, information from topic 2 commentary to answer that question. And number 6, whose theories on management decision or effective organization would you avoid? So there's some areas where you just don't subscribe to what's going on. And I'm asking you to identify at least one management style or decision-making style you would avoid. And again, you go back to this support document to find out, which one you think is the most one that outlies outside of your preferences. And then elaborate on this chosen theorist. So use the information from the documents again, and give me the why it matters, and then provide at least 2 reasons why you would avoid this type of management style. And again, within those reasons, tell me why it matters that you chose those 2 reasons. The last question is outside of what we're going to be covering, because we're going to cover this basically in topic 4, and it'll be beyond the due date of the assignment. So what I've done is I've provided information for you right in support document 1A to answer this question. And also there's an actual, and I show you at the end of topic 3, in terms of chapter 5 and Robbins, that will help you as well. And what you need to do is identify the organization structure that you would be most successful in working in. Again, you use this support document 1A. There's a portion, an article in there about how to choose the right organization structure for your business. That should be enough. But if you want more, well, then, Google is your oyster, or, use your artificial intelligence agent to be able to go in and find more information for you. You briefly describe your attributes of this particular structure. What are the pros and cons of the particular structure? Again, that article will be able to allow you to do that, and then describe why particular organization structure attributes will help you be the most successful. And again, what I'm looking for here is describing why it matters. Give me your assertions and then tell me why it matters. Now, I'm hoping you can go through this before you start the assignment. If you do have any additional questions, please email me, and again, I will answer you directly. And if I feel that your colleagues could get some benefit out of this answer, I will actually place that answer again on Blackboard announcements. All right. And so we'll go from there, and I wish you the best on this assignment. And again, it's quality, not quantity I'm looking for. It's the best organizational positioning that you could do in preparing and presenting this documents, and help me help you. So if it's well organized and well thought through, and there's some critical thinking going on, I'll promise you'll get really good marks in completing this assignment. Okay? All right then. That'll be it.